How y'all living? How y'all holding up on this wonderful Saturday, man? Hopefully everybody had a peaceful Friday. We back to the grind, back to putting out this content, back to putting out that information, this motivation, this inspiration. We getting right to it. Right back to it. Gave y'all a day off, now it's right back to the money. So give everybody a chance to tune on in, and I'm gonna start diving into the topic for the day. We got an important topic to be discussed today. Very important. Very important. So I'm gonna give everybody a chance to tune on in, man, before I start building. Hopefully everybody, had a peaceful Friday. Like I said, man, didn't go too crazy out here, didn't do too much. But this is an important topic that we got today, man. It must be discussed. Y'all know I'm here to discuss the things that a lot of people don't want to talk about, a lot of people don't want to touch on, but we must discuss it. It's an important topic. Very important. So I'm gonna get everybody in here before I start building, man, so you won't miss the bulk of the message today. This is an important message, and I gotta get it across, man. It's real critical. Lindell Peace, what's going on? Jamar, what's going on with you? And you say you gave up on the relationships? Nah, man, you probably just had a bad experience. Nikki, what's going on with you? You can't give up, man. You a young bull, man. You got time. Just focus on yourself. Nick, what's going on with you? Yeah, you a young bull. You got time. Just focus on yourself, and everything that you need. When you focus on yourself, you're gonna attract that to you, man. Like I said, it's the magnetism. It ain't nothing you got to give up on, man. You just had a bad experience. It didn't work out for whatever the reason was. Just focus on yourself, man. That's all you could do. Everything that you need, when you focus on yourself, it will come to you. So nah, you ain't gotta give up on relationships, man. For one, focusing on yourself, that's a relationship you have with yourself. So you ain't never really giving up on relationships truly, because that's a relationship, man. Just you dealing with yourself. Voluntary celibacy, yeah, I'm gonna get the building on that. We're going to get the building with that, because I feel like it's a lot deeper than exactly what you just mentioned. D. Johnson, peace, what's going on with you? Like I said, we didn't made it a competition. We done made it a competition on a lot of different levels, and at the end of the day, we need to stop competing with one another, and that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem. We done made it the black man versus the black woman. That's the real versus battle. You see a lot of these rappers, a lot of these artists doing these versus battles. Like, no, the true versus battle that we have created is a black man versus the black woman. And at the end of the day, who is that truly harming? That's truly harming the black family structure, aka the black babies, the black children that's looking up to us. That's who is truly hurting. Because we done made it a competition. Evan King, peace, what's going on, man? I'm centered, I'm peaceful, I'm good, I'm solid. All those positive vibes, I'm feeling them. But yeah, we didn't made this a competition, man. We compete about stuff that don't necessarily even need that we need to compete with each other on. Like, we didn't start competing on those type of levels, man. It's like when we start talking about trauma, we even start competing in regards to comparing trauma. Black women say what they went through, then a black man gonna turn around and tell you what he went through and make his trauma seem worse than the black woman's, and vice versa. So we competing on that type of level. That's unnecessary, man. We both had some type of experiences growing up, and whatever the case may be, man. Just our upbringing and our family's upbringing and all that type of stuff, man. What is the point in competing on that level? What's the point in competing on that level? I mean, that's what, that is always what it turns into, man. When somebody, like when black women start talking about what they went through, You gonna find a black man come out of nowhere, some black men come out of nowhere talking about the stuff they went through, basically trying to compete on a level of trauma and vice versa. So like, not only are we competing when it comes to like finances and things like that, man, we competing on that level, man. We don't want to allow anybody to have their moment. We don't want to allow the black women to have their moment. They don't want to allow the black men to have their moment, man. It's steady competition, and it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary, man. Instead of us looking at the black women talking about what they went through and then empathizing with them and then just showing that sympathy, no, we got to tell them that y'all ain't the only ones that they went through some things. Y'all ain't the only ones that been abused. Y'all ain't the only ones that been molested. Man, what's the point in that, man? Let them have their moment. They getting some things off their chest. This ain't the time to be telling them they ain't the only ones that went through some things, man. Okay, just like when it's your time to vent, they should give you the space. They should give you the respect and allow you to just vent, man. Give you that platform. And like and Jamar, that's where I'm going with it, man. That's a big time issue. Magic Realms piece, what's going on? Big time issue. And that's where, and again, that's what makes everything a competition, man, because that's all we doing. That's all we doing, man. We not listening to each other. We not striving to understand one another. We not comprehending what the other person is really saying, what they really went through, what they really are going through. We not doing that. Everybody wants to basically be the victim. Everybody wants to play the victim role. Everybody wants to play that role. Idris, what's going on? And Jamar, what it is? This is what I'm gonna say about what I'm gonna say about that. You said you don't feel like black men get the chance. I'm gonna say this. For the most part, and speaking from personal experience, I've had plenty of times where I had the chance, but I took it for granted. So, and I realized a lot of brothers do that as well, or have done that as well, just from personal experience. I realized I've seen a lot of brothers take that for granted when they had somebody that was willing to listen to them. Man, they took it for granted. I've done that, and I realized I've witnessed a lot of brothers around me do that same thing. So a lot of times we think we don't have a platform to like express ourselves truly, to vent and all that type of stuff that we need to do. But I've seen a lot of situations, and personally, I've been in situations to where I just overlooked it. I overlooked. I took it for granted. Cause trust me, it's a lot of people that's willing to listen to us brothers out here. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of black women willing to listen. It's a lot of other brothers that's willing to listen. So we got plenty of platforms. And Brave, peace, what's going on? Yeah, Magic Realms, it's that victim mentality. That's exactly what it is. But I do feel like we take it for granted. You get this phone cracking here. All right. Yeah, but I feel like we tend to take it for granted, man. And we want to tend to act like we don't have a platform. We want to tend to act like we don't have anybody to listen to us. But for the most part, man, like I said, we do. We have it. But it's part of our conditioning. Part of the way that we was raised, or most of us was raised, we was raised in a way that it told you that it's not necessarily manly to express yourself on that type of level. So that's why we tend to take it for granted, because we were kind of raised basically to be a man, to not express yourself on that level, not be overly emotional. That's part of the problem. The problem with us men, us black men, is not that we don't have a platform, not that we don't have people to listen to us, is that we have been raised and conditioned a certain type of way. If you express yourself on that emotional level, you consider soft and weak. That's the big problem with us. That's what we tend to face. Like, that's what we tend to face more often than not. So I feel like we gotta get over that hurdle first. We gotta get over that hurdle first to where we need to stop believing that it makes you weak to express yourself, express your feelings. Like, it's nothing weak about that. There's nothing soft about that. If anything, that's strong, that's strength, that's power. You becoming more powerful when you release those thoughts, when you release those emotions, when you express yourself. You are now becoming more powerful. You are becoming stronger by doing that. You actually become weaker when you suppress those thoughts, those feelings, those emotions. So you can let them out. Oh, and Brave, most definitely. Oh, Nick, most definitely. And Sean, peace, what's going on? And Jamar, you talking about, all right, you would say most black men who do open up to their women often get that level of vulnerability thrown back in their face. And see, when it comes to that, when it comes to that, at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, why are you expressing yourself? Like, what's in it for you? Like, what is the reason why you need to vent? What is the reason why you need to get this stuff off your chest to this particular person? At the end of the day, if you fulfill that mission, if you vent and you get this stuff off your chest to the person that needs to hear it, or the person that you feel like needs to hear it, what they do with it after that, don't let it faze you. Don't let it faze you. Don't let it faze you, man. It's like that homeless person. It's like that homeless person, man, when you make the decision to give them some money. And then you see that same homeless person 30 minutes later, and you seen that they didn't use that money for some drugs or something along those lines, man. So you basically funded a habit. At the end of the day, you did your good deed. You did what you needed to do. You gave them the money. You gave them the money, you did your good deed. Whatever they choose to do with that money is on them. You can't let it faze you. So when you vent, when you trust this woman, you vent to this woman, man, you let this woman know something, what's on your mind, you express yourself. At the end of the day, man, what she does with that, that's on her. That stuff gonna come back and hurt her, not you. So if you vent to this woman, if you do what you need to do, man, just for your own mental health, and you feel like this person needs to receive this message, needs to receive these feelings, and you vent and you fulfill that mission, whatever she chooses to do with that, that's on her at the end of the day, man. You cannot let that faze you. Cannot let that faze you. You can't worry about it. Can't worry about it, man. You vented. You needed to get that stuff off of your chest for your emotional health and well-being. You did it. If she chooses to use that against you, that's gonna come back and harm her. That's gonna come back and harm her at the end of the day. Because she has ill intentions. And she probably had those ill intentions way before you even express your feelings and thoughts. So that stuff is gonna come back to harm her. Oh, Jay, man, and that you said miss her a lot, but her mom raised her to, and that's what's happening. That's another thing that's happening, man. You gotta look at the upbringing. You gotta look at the upbringing. That's why I said at the end of the day, this competition, we compete with one another, and that is only destroying these babies. It's destroying us too, but it is really destroying the babies. And that is the proof, right? That's the proof right there, man. The experience that you're going through, or that you went through. The mother basically raised her to hate men, and it happens the other way around, man. Some of these men raising these sons to basically disrespect women. So it's happening on both ends, and that is impacting a child negatively. So we gotta really We got to really clean up our mentalities, man. We got to really clean up the way that we acting. We got to clean up the way that we treat one another, because it affects the babies. It affects the children. It affects the future generations. The people that's coming after us, that's who it truly affects. That's who it truly affects. And sometimes we do it unconsciously. So she may have did it consciously. She may have raised the daughter to hate men consciously. But sometimes this happens on an unconscious level. When you saying certain things around that child that you're not even really mindful of, and then they picking up on what you're saying. And then they grow up with that same mentality, that same energy towards men, that same energy towards women that you was displaying. And you weren't even really conscious of it. They was just picking up on that vibe. They were just picking up on the energy, because that's what children do. That's what the babies do. Montel, peace, what's going on? All gay university, no doubt. No doubt. It's never good to hold in that type of stuff, man. I'm learning that. I'm still learning that. Like I said, when I'm talking to y'all, I'm talking to myself. Whatever way you got to express yourself. I mean, if you feel like nobody can be trusted, man, then you can trust yourself. Then you got to find ways to vent, because you're going to listen to yourself, man. That's why I tell everybody to journal. If you feel like you can't go to anybody else, man, you can go to that journal, man. You can write it down. That's you getting stuff off of your chest. So you don't necessarily have to always open up to somebody else, man. You can vent in ways to where it's just you and whatever it is. It's just you and that paper, you and that pen, you and that notepad, you and the phone, however you want to jot it down. That's another way to express yourself. That's another platform to vent on. So it don't always have to be you talking to somebody else, you getting something off your chest to somebody else. So if you feel like people can't be trusted, there's plenty of other ways that you can get stuff off your chest. There's plenty of other ways that you can vent. Plenty of different ways that we can vent and get things off our chest, man. It's a lot of different ways. So if you feel like people can't be trusted, man, then just eliminate people from the equation, man, and deal with yourself. Vent to yourself. That's therapy. That's self-therapy. Jay, listen, at the end of the day, if you're dealing with a situation like that, if she rocking with what her, like if she under her mom's grip and she's under the influence of her mom, she's being manipulated by the moms. All right, I had a little disturbance there, but yeah, if Jay, I was talking to Jay here, responding to Jay, listen, if she under the influence of Mom Dukes, and Mom Dukes planting those type of seeds in her mind and she believing them, man, you don't even want to stress yourself out and deal with that, man. I know that you say that you miss her and you love her and all that type of stuff, man. But at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for you. Don't deal with anything like that, man. Do not deal with that. Do not deal with anything like that. Do not deal with anyone like that. If it is apparent that she don't have a mind of her own and she let her mother heavily influence her line of thinking, don't deal with it. And her mom's is planting those type of seeds in her mind to basically turn her against you and make her view you in a lesser light, man, don't deal with that, man. That y'all not compatible, man. You trying to force something that ain't meant to be. Don't do it. Don't do it. Start focusing on yourself, man. And again, what you need, you will attract it. That situation right there, man, just don't even worry about it, man. Don't let that situation stress you to death, man, because that's essentially what's gonna happen. Like that's essentially what's gonna happen, man. You focus on yourself, and again, like I said, what you need is gonna come to you. And her mom's is basically, she's living proof of like the title of this video, making everything a competition. Making everything a competition. She's under you. Or you under her. That's how she feels, man. Again, making it a competition when it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary, man. We make everything a competition. Like, why are we competing with one another? I'm not, like, a black woman is not my competition. I'm not out here to outdo a black woman, man. That's not why I exist. I don't exist to try to outdo a woman. Like, that's not why I'm here. That's not my main objective in life. I'm not out here to try to outdo the black woman. Like, nah, like that's not my whole purpose. That's not why I exist. That's not why I live. That's not why I function. That's not why I do the things that I do. Black woman is not my competition. That don't even make any sense to me. If anything, the black woman is my teammate. We on the same team. The competition is somebody that's on an opposing team. The black woman is on my team. So we out here we competing with people on the same team. And wonder why we not winning the game. Because again, when we start playing these opposing teams, then they got it together. They got it together, man. We got to look at this and we got to use sport analogies right here, man. We on the same team, but then we trying to compete with one another and we actually on the same team. So then when it comes to the actual opponents that we have out here, we wonder why we taking L after L after L. We wonder why we take L after L after L, because at the end of the day, if you didn't play the sport, you know how it go. Yeah, you gonna scrimmage against one another, but when it comes down to actually playing that opponent, y'all gonna come together with the sole purpose of defeating that opponent, getting the W. We can't do that. We stuck on scrimmage mode. We scrimmaging one another. We competing against one another. We can't even get past that mode. So when it's time to play, when it's time to go against an actual opponent, we still stuck on scrimmaging one another. We still think that we the competition. Nah, we got other opponents out here. We got other people that we need to game plan and strategize for. But we can't game plan and strategize for these people if we constantly scrimmaging with one another. So that's trash. That's not gonna get us. That's not gonna get us too far. That's not gonna get us far at all, man. Like we got to get out of scrimmage mode. We got to get out of scrimmage mode. We got to come together and say, all right. And y'all done been on teams before, man. Y'all know how sports go. Everybody don't get along that's on the team. Man, I played with people who I couldn't stand. But at the end of the day, when it was Friday night or it was Saturday and it was time to play, I had they back. But I ain't have a bunch of friends on my team. I ain't have a bunch of people that I was cool with on my team. Nah, man, that was my team. We had arguments, we had disputes in practice, but when it was Friday or when it was Saturday and when it was time to join forces, we came together for the sole purpose of striving to get that W. That's how this situation, that's how this dynamic needs to be. That's how this dynamic needs to be. Yeah, we gonna have our disputes. Yeah, we gonna have our disagreements. Yeah, we gonna have the ups and the downs. We gonna have the good weeks. We gonna have the bad weeks. But at the end of the day, man, when it's time to really go against the opponent, because we got a lot of opponents out here, when it's time to really join forces, come together, and face that opponent and get the W, then we should be able to do that. We should be able to do that. Yeah, the Terminator 1187, it's always about the greater good. It's always about the greater good, man, and that's something that we have to realize. And that's on both ends, yo. It's not, and we always, again, make it a competition. We gotta stop doing that. We always want to say, well, it's mainly them or it's mainly us, man. At the end of the day, now we all got work to do in regards to men in this relationship, man. It's not just one group's fault. It's all of our faults, man. So again, I'm not finna blame black women. I'm not finna blame black men. It's all of our faults collectively. So at the end of the day, I don't really try to point any finger, man. That ain't gonna do no good. That's doing absolutely nothing. That's doing absolutely nothing, pointing fingers out here, man, trying to act like it's the whole group. All black women feel this way. Nah, we know that that's a lie, man. We got plenty of sisters that don't feel that way. And vice versa. So we all got work to do. We all got work to do. Black men, we got work to do. Black women, y'all got work to do. We all got work to do. We can all afford to improve. We can all afford to improve in regards to our relationships. Point blank, period. We can all afford to improve. And that's just a fact, man. And even just when it comes to like finances, man, just the financial aspect, competing on that level. And like how I had to break it down when we talking about breadwinners and making the most money and people not really understanding what money is. Like I said, information is currency. Information is currency. So I see money is causing a big problem. But again, like I said, it's how I view money. It's how I view money, man, currency, information. Information is currency, knowledge is true wealth. So again, don't get stuck on that number that you make, that income. Don't get stuck on that number. Don't get stuck on it. And what I realized, now I realize this with a lot of women, they get stuck, they get caught up on that. They get caught up on how much money somebody is making. Now, I have realized that. A lot of them get caught up on that. A lot of them get caught up on that. They don't really realize the true source of wealth, the true source of power. It's information. It's information, it's knowledge. So don't get caught up on how much money somebody is making, man. If you see that person is eager to learn, eager to get the information, eager to do the knowledge, then that's going to be that's a wealthy individual. That's a person that can only elevate you and take you to the next level, no matter what that individual is making. So we gotta learn how to look past that. We gotta learn how to look past that. I'm not telling somebody to go out here and just be broke. Because now we live in America, man. We live in America, so we know money is needed. We know money is a necessity. But at the end of the day, man, the true way to wealth is the knowledge, man. You got to know how to generate it. You got to know how to build a business, man. You got to know how to move up a ladder in corporate America. You got to know how to communicate. So the person that's eager to learn, they're going to learn how to do all of these things. So that person is more valuable. That person is always more valuable. So again, we got to understand that currency is not just a finance. It's not just a bank account number. It's not just a number in your bank account. It's also information. It's also knowledge. So we got to understand that. So a lot of times we get caught up on how much money somebody is making. Well, concern yourself with how much information this person is bringing in as well. How much knowledge is this person bringing in as well? That should be just as important. If you with somebody and you see that they not eager to learn, they content, they feel like they've reached they've reached their ceiling, hit their peak, then you can't be dealing with a person like that. Cannot be dealing with a person like that. They say the moment you stop learning, that's when you die. So you should always evaluate that aspect as well. How eager are they to acquire new information, new knowledge? Jamar Peace, what's going on? And most definitely, man. I know, like I said, man, we caught up on a number, 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures. It's a lot of people that make 6 figures that are not. It's a lot of people that make 150, 200,000, and they not richer than somebody that make 50,000. Because a lot of people, again, don't understand what it means to be rich. A lot of people don't understand what it means to be wealthy. A lot of people don't understand that. So we caught up on numbers. We caught up on numbers, man. I know plenty of broke 6-figure people. Yeah, Nanya, and it don't mean, money don't really mean nothing now for the most part. Like, money really actually is worthless now. Really don't mean much of anything now. And then the money that's actually in your bank, that money is not really yours at the end of the day. Like I said, if you deal with 6 figures, and y'all done heard me talk about it, because this stuff is really all an illusion. At the end of the day, they playing a trick on us. But if your bank account right now says something about 6 figures, 100,000, 200,000, try to go to your bank right now and go get that money out the bank. If you got $200,000 in the bank right now, try to go to your bank and try to go get all of that in cash. Watch how that works for you. Watch how that works for you. So people be caught up on these numbers. People be caught up on that number. Let me go. Like I said, you make 6 figures. You got 6 figures in the bank right now. Go try to withdraw it. And let me know how that turned out for you. Let me know how easy that process is for you. I already know how I go because I worked in the bank. So I already know how that process goes because I done worked in the bank. So again, let me know how that process works for you. So again, man, we got to redefine what wealth is. We got to redefine what it means to even be rich. We just got to redefine it. We got to redefine it. So we caught up on all the wrong nonsense, man. What's the terms out here, man? I don't be watching a lot of stuff, but I be seeing people talk about it. What you got, like high value people or whatever the case may be? And one of the things that I tend to see that's associated with people in that little spectrum or that realm, it revolves around the amount of money that they make. If that's all you caught up on, man, you got a long way to go. you ain't really mastering life. You got a long way to go if all you caught up on is how much money I'm making or how much money somebody is making. If that's all you concerned with, man, you got a long way to go. You're not really understanding life if that's all you focused on. Like I said, I'm not saying we should be out here striving to be broke, but if that's all you concerned with, you got a long way to go. You got a long way to go to master yourself and master life. And brave it, it's because you are stealing from them at the end of the day. Basically, the money that you got in the bank, they utilizing that money for something else. So that money really ain't yours. So it gets crazy. Like I said, go just try to withdraw that money, man. Go try to withdraw. Even if you, not even 6 figures, if you got like 40,000 in that bank, go try to withdraw that entire 40. Go try to withdraw that entire 40,000 and let me know how that works out for you. So again, like I said, that's why I focus on another form of currency. That knowledge, that information. That's the best form of currency right there, man. You get the information, you get the knowledge. For one, there's no way that you really be broke financially because you're doing the knowledge, you're getting the information. So that's why I prioritize that. I prioritize the information, I prioritize the knowledge. Again, that's the foundation of all wealth. That's the foundation of being rich. It starts there. It starts there. So that's why I focus on it. Again, we talk about how money is really worthless at the end of the day. And it's a lot of different ways that you can so-called print your own money. So it's a lot of different ways that you can just manifest money in the physical realm, in a physical sense. It's a lot of different ways you can manifest it. Oh yeah, Magic Realms. I know all about that book. I know all about that book. And Jamar, the crazy thing about it, a lot of brothers have that perspective because again, it's some women out here that's actually co-signing that and actually stating that. Because you actually have that being co-signed, you actually have that being desired out here. So that's the reason why a lot of brothers actually co-sign that type of ideology, that all they care about is status and money. Because in some cases, that's all some of them do care about. Not all, but that is some. They feel like they have a better chance of landing the type of woman that they would like to be with if they just had a certain status and made a certain amount of money. But at the end of the day, I'm not striving to attract somebody to me that's all that they concerned about. Again, when I focus on myself, me focusing on myself is me focusing on studying, researching, doing the knowledge, getting the information. So when I focus on that, that's what I'm going to attract. That's what I'm going to attract to myself. Somebody who also prioritizes that. That's what I'm going to attract. If you basically feel like somebody is only attracted to a status and money, things that's like artificial, things that really have no substance behind them, things that don't have no substance backing them, then guess what you're going to attract to you? You're going to attract something that's artificial. So that's exactly why a lot of these brothers notice how a lot of these so-called wealthy people and these rich people be going through all type of marriages, be divorced about 3 to 4 times. These are people with all the money. Just go check they history. Many of them didn't had several wives, several husbands. These be the people with all this money. They can't stay in anything of substance. Wonder why? Because it be all artificial at the end of the day. That's why they be having 3 or 4 wives, 3 or 4 husbands. Like they done been in all those type of situations, man. That's why that be happening to them. Oh, Jamar, most definitely. And that's why I said, man, so that's why I tell people all the time, man, it's best to detox and fast from social media, man, because a lot of people can't handle that. A lot of people look at these people that's living a lie, but they don't think that they living a lie. They showing you all this nonsense out here. They really don't own the stuff. It's almost like in them rap videos, man, when they had a bunch of cars, they got all these fancy cribs in the videos, and they don't own any of that, but got you thinking that they do and got you thinking that that's the lifestyle that you need to be living, but they not really showing you the truth. It's like that on social media. It's like that on social media, man. These people out here showing you all these vacations and whatnot, but they not really living the life that we think they living. Yeah, Lindell, and I've seen cases like that. I've seen cases like that, man. Like it ain't, and that's it's almost like Stockholm syndrome when it comes to being abused in a relationship, and you stand with the abuser, and then coming up with all type of reasons to like justify remaining with the person that's abusing you. That's Stockholm syndrome, man. It's like black people trying to just trying to justify being friendly to white folks. Stockholm syndrome, man. They fall in love with that abuser just like we done fell in love with the slave master. So that's what tends to happen in those relationships, man, where people being abused. Stockholm syndrome, man. They in love with that abuser, man. So they gonna justify and find all these type of reasons to stay and remain with that abuser. When at the end of the day, we know in our minds, like the commonsensical thing to do would be to just leave, but it's never really that easy. So all the time, people just be wondering why a person that's in a type of relationship like that, where they being abused, we just wondering in our mind, like, why won't they just leave? It's not that simple. It's almost like why black people just won't stop dealing with white folks, man, because of the history that we have endured in dealing with them. It's the same in regards to those relationships. It's a lot deeper than that. Beast by Bless, Zone Out Music, peace. And Nanya, most definitely, we make bad decisions. And again, that's another thing about competition. We don't hold ourselves accountable for those bad decisions. Instead of us saying, I'm choosing the wrong type of people, we start saying, dudes ain't this, that, and the third. Or these women ain't this, that, and the third. So now we blaming all black women, or we blaming all black men, instead of looking at ourselves, when at the end of the day, like I said in one of my previous videos, it all comes back to self. You making those decisions to deal with these individuals that you're dealing with. Nobody is holding a gun to your head telling you to deal with this certain type of individual. Nobody is holding that gun to your head. You making that decision. You choosing to deal with a certain type of woman or a certain type of man. That's you making a decision to do that. And just from personal experience, and that's one thing I've noticed. I've realized a lot of sisters put all black men in a box, but then when I look at the type of black men that they dealing with, it is literally the same type of black man. So you making that decision. Don't put all black men in that box. You got a preference, and that preference that you have is not good for you. It's almost like preferring to eat a food that's not good for you and blaming the food. Nah, you deciding to eat that pork, man. That pork is tearing you up because you decided to eat the pork. Don't blame the pork. Don't blame the pork. The pork, we already know how dangerous the pork is by itself. You choosing to eat something that you know is harming you. That's your fault. That's your fault. That's your fault, man. You can't eat something that you know is harming you, that you know is killing you. Then you consume it. Then it does kill you. It does harm you. And now you blame the food. You blame the poison. Come on, man. You knew something was poisonous. Then you consumed it and you got mad at it for doing its job. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that, man? If you know that this certain type of dude, just historically speaking, if you know that this same type of brother, this same type of man, this same type treats you a certain type of way, and you continue to date this same type of person, whose fault is that? And that's vice versa. So if you a black man and you dealing with the same type of black woman, and you get mad at the same type of black woman for how she continues to treat you, like that's your fault. It's not black women's fault. It's your fault. You continue to choose this same type of black woman. That's your fault. That's your fault. You need to reevaluate your preference, man. You need to reevaluate your preferences. You need to reevaluate that. That's your fault. You making the decision. Hold yourself accountable for that. Hold yourself accountable for what happens to you in life. So we gotta chill on that. Yeah, Jamar, most definitely. You dealing with a girl that you know she got STD. You know she got STD. And you have unprotected sex with her, then get mad at her for giving you the STD. How was that her fault? She let you know she had the STD. She proved to you she had the STD. You know she had the STD. And you still had unprotected sex with her, then you get mad that you got the STD. No, brother, that's your fault. That's your fault. So at the end of the day, man, when it comes to these relationships, man, the blame game is dead. That's too easy, man. The blame game is dead, man. You gotta actually look at yourself, man. Look inward, look within. Look at the type of person that you're dealing with. You may not be compatible with this person that you want. And sometimes it ain't about what you want, it's about what you need. So at the end, like I said, at the end of the day, man, you gotta really think about what you need, not something that you want. And sometimes that's what we tend to do. We tend to look at these people, we want a certain type of individual, but that may not be the individual that you need, man. You gotta deal with what you need when it comes to a relationship. You can't deal with what you want all the time. Antoinette, peace, what's going on? So you may need somebody to compliment you, man. So that may not necessarily be something that you want. It may not be somebody that you want, but it may be somebody that you need. Again, man, it's like eating healthy. It's like eating right. You just gotta learn how to determine the wants from the needs. So it's a lot of foods out here that you may want to eat, but they may not necessarily be good for you. They may not necessarily be good for you. But you want to eat them. But if you do eat them, they're going to destroy you. They're going to tear you down. They're going to make you unhealthy. But the food that you need to eat, some of that food may not be appealing to you at first. You got to get used to that food. You got to adapt and adjust to that food. Then you will learn to appreciate it. You got to approach people the same way. It's certain people out here that you may want. They not good for you, though. You get in a relationship with that person, they turn you toxic. They make you toxic, just like a bad food would do. But that food may taste good, may look good on the surface, may smell good, all that type of stuff, man. It appears to be good. But when you consume it, brings you down, makes you sluggish, drains your energy, makes you unhealthy, creates an imbalance. The same happens when we deal with people. Same happens. On the surface, everything may look good according to your eye, according to your perception. Everything may look good. Everything may look good. But that person, when you analyze their ways and actions, their principles and their morals, that may not be in alignment with your principles, with your morals, with how you think, with what you need. So that's how you got to analyze people. Oh, Beast by Bless on our music, most definitely. Like I said, I'm big on accountability. Big on it. Big on it, man. So again, we gotta focus on things that we need, not things that we want. So if that person ain't supplying you with stuff that you need, which for the most part, when these people end up in these toxic relationships, that person is definitely not giving them what they need. Definitely not giving them what they need. because you don't need that toxicity. So you got to focus on what you need. Again, the way you do that, man, you determine your strengths from your weaknesses. So you got to see where you weak at. Then that person, you need somebody that's strong in the areas where you are weak. That's what it means to complement one another. That's how you got to evaluate these people. That's how you got to evaluate people before you get into a relationship with them. Nollywood Jr., peace, what's going on? Justin, what's going on? Yeah, Tavon, we overlook a lot. We overlook a lot. Sometimes people, they got this image, they had this image in their head of what they feel like what they want this person to be. And this person may not even display the potential. It may not even be potential. It's just the person in their mind that created a lie. They got this image of this person because they have created this image of this person that they want. The man or woman of their dreams. So they finally find this person. And they got this whole idea in their head that this is the person of their dreams. So the person of their dreams treats them a certain type of way. This person may not even give off any vibe that they will treat them this way. But since this is the person on the surface that they feel like is the person of their dreams, like they gonna cling to that person just because physically that may be the person of their dreams. This may be the person that they feel like they want. That ain't what you need though. That ain't what you need, especially when you done dealt with several people that fit the description. And they have each treated you the same way. So that's when it's time to go back to the drawing board and reevaluate your ideal person to be with in a relationship. So again, you gotta look at it, man. If you constantly in and out of bad relationships, it can't be it's something about you. It's something about you, man. It's something that you need to do. It's something that you need to fix. It's something that you need to alter. And that's just a fact. And that's just a fact, man. A lot of people don't want to deal with it like that. Yeah, University, I feel like a lot of times we look into blame for the sake of scapegoat. That's really what it is. We're not blaming to correct anything. We never blame to correct. Because if we doing anything to correct at that point, it's not really blaming. It's not really blaming at that point. If we doing anything to correct, anything to help, anything to improve, at that point, it's not blaming. Like at that point, it's not blaming. So it's definitely for scapegoating, man. It's definitely for that. Like I said, it's to run from that accountability. It's to run from that accountability. That's the reason why we truly blame. Is running from that accountability. And like y'all know, I'm in the fitness space. That's how I can vouch for that, because that's what people do. Run from accountability. Instead of saying, man, I'm just undisciplined. I don't have discipline. I lack the discipline. They blame the kids. They blame their job. They blame the TV. They blame everything besides themselves in regards to why they put on this weight, as in regards to why they not exercising, in regards to why they not eating correct. They gonna blame any and everybody outside of themselves, man, for that. When at the end of the day, it's on you. It's your fault. You not getting up to exercise. That's on you. You not eating right. That's on you. Like, you not doing what you need to do. That is on you. Like, that stuff, that is on you. Oh, Solo T, we already know how that go. We already know how the media just manipulates and influences the mind. And a lot of people, for some reason, feel as though that doesn't happen. But we already know the role of the media and what they gonna encourage and promote and advertise and push. We already know when you get caught up in the media. And that's another thing you got to realize too. When you deal with a brother or when you deal with a sister that's heavily involved in things like that, then you know what type of person you're dealing with off the rip. Because he or she is going to be heavily influenced by mainstream media. That's a hard person to deal with. That's a hard person to deal with. When you got somebody that's into all of that stuff in the mainstream, that's a complicated person to deal with, man, because they pretty much brainwashed at that particular point. They influenced heavily by the things that they see on the mainstream media, and we know that the mainstream media is not going to push anything that's positive. They only going to push negativity and destruction. So that person is going to be very toxic. So you always got to be mindful of that. You always got to watch that, man. If they're addicted to all this stuff that's going on in the mainstream, that's a complicated person to deal with. You may not want to deal with a person like that, man, because they are heavily brainwashed. They won't admit it, and that's just going to be a complicated person to deal with. That's going to be a very toxic person to deal with. You don't want them to be caught up in all this mainstream madness, all this mainstream nonsense. Because being caught up in the mainstream madness and the mainstream nonsense is not good for the black mind. It's not good for the black man, not good for the black woman, not good for the black child. If you caught up in all this mainstream nonsense as a black man, woman, or child, you're going to end up self-destructing. You're going to be very toxic. Oh, Nanya, most definitely. Yeah, when you caught up with a person that's all into the mainstream, anything you do that's like metaphysical or like deep or beyond the surface, they can't deal with it. You weird to them, you crazy, and all this type of stuff, man. So you rather not just deal with a person like that because they're not gonna understand anything beyond that surface, anything deeper than that surface. They gonna only understand surface level thoughts and things. That's it. Seville, man, it's all about discipline, man. You got to do small things, man, just to establish that level of discipline. Little small things, little small daily tasks, man. Just start sticking to those small daily tasks, and that's going to help with the discipline. That's going to help with the discipline. Oh, Jamar, most definitely, and that's why, like I said, I stay away from the media. I control my own. I control my media. I control what I watch, what I consume. Because the news and all that, that's food. So you consume that. So I control what I consume. I control what I consume. Gay University, this war, like the war between the black man and black woman, like basically social media did that with everything, just highlighted it. It has always existed, and it's messed up, but it has always existed, and we know how it was constructed to exist. Like I said, when we go back to the days when they kicked the black man out of the house, when they forced the black man out of the home, it all started there. When they forced the black man out of the home, and we know why they did that, basically to create that dysfunction. But it stems from that. It stems from that. We can go back to slavery, and a lot of the dysfunction stems from that. Social media in this day and age just highlights what was already there. So it was already there, man. Now social media is just highlighting it a lot more, but it was always already there. And we know where it originally stems from. And that's the reason why I said that it's more so an illusion. And it's not necessarily an actual war between the black man and black woman. It's an illusion because we already know who constructed it. And we already know the reason why they constructed it, to have that dysfunction. Because they know once again that if we come together as a family unit, if the black family unit is powerful, then that means the village is powerful. And if the village is powerful, then that means they can control and manipulate us and have us under their control, under their grip. So they know exactly what they were doing. They did it. They succeeded. They turned us against one another and made it look like it's a war that's really going on, but it's really actually not a war. You know what I mean? It's something that, like I said, they created it. They hide their hand from it, and we can't see it. We blind to it. Just like we blind to the knowledge of ourselves, we blind to who the true enemy is. We blind to who we really in competition with. We blind to who the real opponent is. We blind to all of that. Yeah, the biggest fear is seeing the rise of a black messiah. They don't want to see that. That's why any black man that comes to the surface with a powerful message that has the power to get people together, y'all know the result, the end result of that. They don't want to see that rise of the black messiah because they know with the rise of the black messiah is gonna come the rise of the black family unit. Because again, that's one thing a black messiah, that's one thing a black man gonna talk about, that family structure, man, woman, and child. That's one thing he gonna talk about if he true to it. Lindell, most definitely, and that's one thing they don't want to they don't want to see that. They don't want to see that, so they gonna strive to hinder that as many times as possible, man. So they don't want to see the rise of a black messiah. They don't want to see that black man rise. That's why they striving to keep the black man at the bottom. They will allow that black woman to hit certain positions, hit certain levels, but that black man, they can't allow that. They can't allow that. They can't allow that, man. They done always been fascinated with our sisters. We can go back to slavery and show and prove that. Them slave men, them white men, they always been fascinated with our women. They always that done always been the case. But they ain't never been fascinated with us. They gotta keep us at the bottom. They gotta keep us at the bottom, and they know why they gotta do that. They know why they gotta keep the black man at the bottom. So they know why that must happen. So what, as black men, one thing we gotta realize, like we gotta know and understand what we going up against. They not gonna, we can't work with them and reach certain positions and certain levels. If we want to reach certain positions and certain levels, we gotta do that amongst one another. Like, period. We can't depend on them to reach a certain level. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Like, it's not gonna happen at all, man, because like I said, they don't want to see us rise, man. So we gotta know and understand that. I understood that a while back. So I stopped relying and depending on them for my elevation. So hey, we can't be, we gotta stop being submissive. We gotta stop being cowards when it comes to dealing with these white folks, man, dealing with the white man out here. We gotta know and understand who truly has the power, and that's us. Like, literally, that's us. Everything is gonna revolve around us, man. So we truly have that power. We truly have it. We gotta realize that, and we gotta start living according to that. We gotta start living according to that reality, to that vision, to that truth. We got the true power. They know it. They know we got the true power, man. Everything is gonna revolve around us, man. So like I said, when we focus on ourselves, man, everything is going to follow suit from that. Even relationships, man. That's why I always tell my brothers, man, to focus on yourself. Focus on you. But y'all, I'm about to tap out real quick, man. I'm probably be back, man. I got a client that's about to come up in here, man. So I'll be right back.